Sorry, my phone keeps cutting out. I think it's because it gets overheated. I'm not sure why. I mean, we were in a little bit of direct sunlight, but it doesn't feel like it's more than 75 degrees out there. So yeah, that's why the cool weather, I was gonna say, it actually helps me because not because it's cold, but it actually helps the phone stay recording longer before it dies out. I would think maybe the flame got to it or something like that, but I didn't think I got the camera that close. So we're gonna try again. We spliced the wires here. We can use a 12 gauge splicer tip for a 12 gauge, so you can see there's no threads being lost like the other time. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy real quick. Okay. So again, we don't want to make this hard, and it really is, so we're going to try to do our best here. I brought it inside because I was told that you can actually probably see the flame now from the torch a little bit better because it's not in direct sunlight. So we're going to do our best. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to, I got it clamped loosely on here just to hold the wires really. And what I'm going to do is, we're not going to apply directly heat to this. We're going to get the solder hot enough for us to actually force it onto here. So right now I bundled a little bit of solder. I didn't use any flex or anything like that. Maybe I should. We'll find out. Let's see what we can do without some flex. So let me go ahead and get that wire there. So we're going to see where all the other soldering, I brought all the tools and stuff in here back, or tip there. There's some of the extra solder. But where's the roll of wires that we brought over? So anyway, we'll find it. Eventually it always shows up itself. So we got a new tip and everything. And we're going to try to see if we can do this again and actually see the flame this time. So what I'm going to attempt to do is actually hold this here so you guys can see me here. I'm going to hold this. Well, let me stuff this with solder first. So here we go. I got a little bundle of solder here. Might be a little too much right now because I can't fit it in there. That's the only reason. When it melts, it's going to be not that much, but right now it is a lot because it hasn't melted. So I might be able to squeeze in 3 maybe. We'll see. We'll see how much it gives us play. If we go long ways, we might be able to get more. There we go. Alright, so solder's stuffed in there. Let me go and cut this little extra here that I can't get to anyway. So hopefully it just melts straight in there. Now it's normal for it to actually turn back to its copper color. Because I guess this is just a little chrome tint they put on there temporarily. Maybe for show. I really didn't care for the different color. I actually want to stay copper. But that's what it is. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I'm not going to try to attempt to hold it near the wire or anything like that, but I'm going to go ahead and try to just torch this and have this melt, and hopefully this doesn't get hot where it transfers heat into my hand. You can see me drop it if that's the case. So here we go. I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you're making sure you're prepared for the worst. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and torch it. See, oh yeah, you can see the flame now. You guys see it? Watch. See, this is it. Now it's easier to see the flame. Okay, take out the safety lever. You guys can see the flame now. There we go. Oh my gosh. That was a slam dunk. Let's see here. Now you can go a little bit further and torch it some more too if you want. But I got a feeling this is it. This is what we were trying to do earlier. Ready? It's cool. Cool to the touch. Let me go and give it a yank. Okay, I'm going to put my feet down on this. Oh, sorry. I'm going to put my feet down. I'm going to give it a good yank up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Well, obviously I didn't hold that. Okay, let me go ahead and put the feet down here, right? I'm going to go ahead and yank it up. Okay, 1, 2. Oh. Yeah, this thing is strong here. I don't even have to do the feet anymore. But look at that. The wire and insulator is not damaged in any way, shape, or form. So I guess I made it out harder than it really is. And that thing is, you can officially say it's soldered on there. So that's very easy, huh? Look at that. Solid piece of solder there. How easy was that? Stuff some solder in there. Even though it has a little peek hole, it didn't actually leak from it. So it worked beautifully. I think APM will probably be proud of me. Let's see here. Come on, man. I'm gonna have to ruin one tip just to prove to you guys how strong this guy is. Oh, you know what? Let me get a stronger plier here. Okay, I'm gonna get a stronger plier, okay? This guy right here. And more than likely, it'll probably break somewhere else other than that connection there. Okay, so I'm gonna grip him, and I'm gonna give it a good yank. Okay, so I got this guy grip right. Just holding this for reinforcement. Okay, so we're gonna give it a good yank. Right, 1, 2, 3. You can see it's jerking this guy, almost ripping his skin off a little bit. So let me do this again. 1, 2. Finally, there it is. That's our soldering right there. So yeah, unless you give it an extremely good hard yank, it finally came off. So since we already got solder in there, I feel like maybe we could still salvage this, but it's okay. We'll use a new tip for our new connection. So let's go and get ready. Just to, all we did this was for was just practice of getting this with a clean tip. So now we got that understood. So let's go ahead and get a new solder tip for this guy, the one that we wanted actually. So let's go and look for this guy here. He takes a little smaller one. See if I can find. There we go. This is the one we want for him. This one's still a little bit too big. This one's too fat. I believe it might be this one. This one's too, see, this is too big of diameter. We want the small ring like this, but we want the small inside. So I believe we might only have a few left. So it's probably mounted already on our terminal that we decide. So let me go and take it off the terminal. And let's see which one these guys are. I believe, yeah, they are the same. So let me just double check to make sure. There we go. Okay, so this was the same, I believe. So this is the little bigger one here for our bigger wire. This one will probably be used for our 12 or 14 gauge wire, which this one's pretty much identical. All right, so either one of these is fine. So now we know. Okay, so let's go and get ready to put solder in here. Fill the solder in like we just did with the other one. Let's prepare this connection tip here. You guys seen what I try to do elsewhere. It didn't work too well, so this one was the best one. Okay, so let's go and spice this wire up. This is it. We cut it cleanly. You remember the little bits and pieces that we had earlier? Okay, so this probably would take a 14 or 12. Let's go with a 12 one, see how it looks first. Okay, so we're going to just get enough here, to cut enough here to feed it all in there. We don't want to insulate it. We just want a nice clean. There we go. There we go. All the strands came out. So I took the 12 one here. All the strands came out. Let's see if I get the resolution here. There we go. All the strands came out, which is awesome. Okay. The reason why I just held this over here was to be able to have it ready to go when I'm ready to slam dunk it. Now, I'm sure some people can say they can do it way better because they can actually just, you know, have the wire in place, but again, I wasn't that lucky. So this go, what I'm going to do is just slam it in there like this as soon as I fill this up with solder. So let's go ahead and get the solder. Here, a little piece of it. Let's go find that roll. I had a whole roll. Oh, by the way, how you actually fill this in is the butane. That's what I found out. So if you're new to it, just like I am, you got a little micro torch here. It only takes maybe less than a minute really to fill it up, depending how big these things are. It's just gas. That's what APM says. You pretty much tilt your micro torch. You know, this fills it up here. I guess it has a little reserve here for it. So you put it here until you see it spilling out, just like you did with your, you know, oil loop. But you see there's a hole on this side, and then there's also a hole here as well. So that's how it goes in. It's just like, you know, male to female connector sort of. So this is more, I guess, I don't know, maybe this is more a female because it has a bigger hole, and this one is more of a male, but there's hole that interchange them. So what you do is, you see you have it there, it just feel like really nested in there, and then what you do is you just go and push down on it. Nothing special, just pretty much pump the can. You can hold like this and push down. So what I'm going to do is push down on it. That way you guys can see it. Let me get the resolution back. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to push down on it. And when you see it flood like that, that means it's full. There's not more you can do. Okay, so when you see it splat like that, that means it's full. So that was it. It has a really awful smell. It doesn't smell too good. All right, so let's go ahead and see if maybe I put in my toolbox already. So let's find that out. Silicone. Oh, there we go. Connection. Let's go and find that guy. Might put it in here and not realize it. Grabbing all the solder parts. Nope, it's not in there. Put this guy back here for a second. Alright, it seems like we could probably open that other tube, but I really just want to find that tube, so continue working. Oh, by the way, I started putting a little bit of water in here, start scrubbing it as well. You can see here how it looks. Just a little bit of water. Kind of get in there like this. Just got in the corners really. You can see here. Not bad. Probably almost buff it out really. But we'll do another coat of paint like this, just to make sure it's enough. Try to get all that little, you know, this might be actually the cleanest one we got here. That's okay, but it still looks way better than that little Sprite ugliness, right? So just a little bit, it's like 250 grit. So you can see here all the things that if you wipe your hands here, you can see it gets dark real quickly. I'm going to get a piece of clean shop rag here, I'll wipe it. There we go. Actually, it's almost doable, but again, we're not looking for the matted Batman yet. We just want to go ahead and keep it, blend it. But yeah, it still looks way better than what it had there, Sprite, even though we haven't even hit it with the new enamel yet. So let me go ahead and find that real quick. Where I'm probably holding it, I wouldn't even know. Let's see here. Where'd it go? You know, it's probably in my pocket, I don't even know it. Nope, I got the keys in here. We got the tip ready to go. Oh, there, look at that fuse. The fuse is dropped everywhere. That's interesting. Why would it even come all the way out here? I think maybe because our cardboard here. We got our tape. Going dark line, maybe it's underneath this ordeal. We got our flex. We see our flex here, but we see even some yogurt. But where is that guy? You know, it's like you're not going anywhere further in this area, but you still can't find them. Throw this away. Where did he just disappear to? We have flex, but we don't have the other one. That's interesting. Butane torch, battery. I don't think we brought it back here to put it in here anyway. So it has to be somewhere in this vicinity. We got the connector tips. Oh, look for it. We're just working this area here. Couldn't just disappear. Found out what to do one thing and then we lost the other thing. Huh. Well, instead of having you guys wait, I'm just going to go and open the other soldering one and see if that one actually even melts more. But the other one did as good already, so. Okay, so we got this spice anyway. We have a little bit of solder here. So let me see if I can just wrap it up here with this little piece here. It's not that much, but we'll see. So what I did was I held it, right? So I'll continue to hold and see. Let's go and find that little smaller piece. There we go. That's the one we want. And I'm sure it'll come to us. I'm almost thinking it might be lost in the flap somewhere. Okay, so this is it. This is the real deal here. We're putting it into our fuse line. We tried it first with our fuse line. Now we're coming back to it because we got a feeling that we can actually make this work now. So I'm going to flex a little bit of solder in there. It's not a lot really if you look at it. Less than a little bit pieces here. So we definitely want more solder really before we start. So I might just go ahead and open another bag here. I just can't believe where the other one went. It just disappeared so fast. It's not in the toolbox. Let me get this guy back in here. Not back in here, I don't think. Let me make sure. No. Oh, a roll of solder just disappeared just like that. I found our tools. Alright, so let me go and get this other one open. This one's actually thinner too, by the way, so let's check out the thinner one. We didn't have to use flex, so I guess that maybe is a good thing, or I don't know. But maybe we should put a little flex just for safekeeping, right? So let's go and get some flex. And that way the solder maybe actually will melt in more to the wire. So we'll leave the flex on the wire. So I'm just gonna dabble with some flex here. There you go, it's got some now. You don't want too much, this is a little bit too much there. Scrape some off. We didn't put flex on the other one, but there we go. Awesome. Alright, so let's prepare this guy here. be. All right, let me get back here. You know, it just frustrates me. Where if I was soldered, where would I hide? And I brought everything in there. Whoa! Look at that. That's the thing with being on wheels, is remote. That's cool. So that way we don't have to open this guy up. I think this will work just fine since we're not trying to feed it from the top, because I believe it wouldn't even. This right here. If you had the little inspection hole a little bit bigger, it would be definitely more possible. But since we don't, I don't think this inspection hole would fit any kind of soldering, even this size right here. You can see how much more smaller it is compared to this one right here. See, we could have fed the soldering as it got hot here, but it wouldn't even do it. So actually this stays pretty warm, like molted warm. So I think it's fine. So let's go ahead and do this. We don't need all this here. So let's go ahead and cut enough here. We'll even hold it with our big guy here. But it was fine holding it with a smaller plier too, so it's not a big deal. Let me just cut enough here. Wow, look at this. This thing has a little bent here already. What's the point of cutting it if there's a hole in there? Alright, so let me see. Okay, so we're gonna go and feed this guy here with some ahead of time solder. See if we can get 4 in there. 4 strands at least, right? Okay, solder there. But you can see the flame now. Just a little bit lighter area, so you might want to work with a little bit more lesser light. So we're doing everything a little bit harder. So this is so much more better now. Okay, so we'll let the solder, hopefully it just drip. There's like 4 strands now in there. And again, we can go back to our original small handheld needle nose plier here. Try and make things a little less intimidating for you guys. And just hold your tip here, because we're going to go and finalize it. And we're going to slam dunk it on that thing as soon as it gets molted hot. Okay, let's turn on our leveler here. I'm going to try to get this guy to angle down. Seems like the battery thing is actually pushing it down. Okay, so here we go. Okay. As soon as this gets hot, we're gonna go and slam dunk it in there, okay? Or as soon as it melts, let's say. Okay, so we'll push the button. Here we go, we're gonna melt it. You can see the flames. There you go, get an idea where a flame's at. You can even go from this far, look how far it is before it starts melting it. I'm about 3 inches away, see? That's not melted yet. We'll get really hot in there. There we go. There we go. See that? I use the flame a little bit to help me. As soon as it's in there, I let it go. And I believe the insulator's still there. So it only takes maybe less than, oh, it's still melting actually, it's still hot. So let's keep melting there. There's just not enough solder maybe. Probably not enough solder. Yeah, it looked like the solder just kind of hanged in there. So we're gonna have to definitely keep stuffing it with solder. So let's go and do that. And we did. See if this gets hot. It's not bad. It's not bad. Not bad to the touch yet. So we're gonna have to stuff this with a little bit more solder. So let's go and do that. I think this is where APM was saying he had to actually use a vise to be able to hold this guy and then get the solder ready. So let's see if we can anchor it like this or something like that. Kind of help it flow downward, huh? Probably nice to use multiple vice. Oh shoot. Just cut the solder right in half. Okay, here we go. Want to aim at the tip. See where the flame is. See, there it goes. Not sure if solder gets burnt. Okay. So there it goes. It's hot. Come around. Oh, you can see all that little solder dump. Look at that. The little bit of solder dump right there. See a little solder dump? Alright, just let that cool down. Now it's sitting there. Alright, now it's melting into the threads. I believe this is it. I believe this is our final connection. Super. So that wasn't bad. We didn't put too much harsh on that. So let's really give it a good inspection here. So it's easier now to be able to do this, and then the flex, I guess, kind of helps it, pulls in there. Let's do the tug test. We still want to do the tug test. Now this guy can just flick right off. Pretty good. Yep, pretty good. Just not confident yet because it's my first soldering. I almost feel like I could do it better. I feel like I could just feed some more solder there, and you know, it's probably gonna roast it a little bit, but there's flex in there. Yeah, let's see. See, I can pull it out, or if I'm pulling it out, or I'm pulling the strands. Let's see. There we go. See, I'm pulling it out. So definitely not a good solder yet. So we're gonna have to feed a lot more solder in there before we can actually say that it's in there. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and use the same tip, and let's get these guys on the vise so we can get him to be dunked in once he's almost ready. All right, so let's do this. But it doesn't seem too bad. I mean, you can almost get solder up from underneath it too as well. But let's keep on feeding him a little bit solder more. You can pre-solder it like this, I guess. Maybe have the solder keep on dropping. So let me go ahead and angle this in a way where solder will just flow, huh? Try not to cut the solder. Okay, I'm not even gripping it that hard either on my... There we go. Yep. I think flex kind of made it a little bit more kind of slippery. I'm not sure it's helping me, but without flex it was more stronger. All right, let's see here. Ah, see, look at all that solder dump. That's the problem. We got solder dump. So all that good solder just went to the dump. That's the problem with the. It's like it's just splatical. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna see if we can get this guy to get solder feed directly in him, and we're gonna torch him and try feed solder at the same time. Now we're gonna scourge the wires a little bit, but we're gonna try aim just for the tip. We're gonna go like this. See? Oh, well, I made the tip disappear, but not the side. Maybe I should wait for it to cool down for a little bit, just slightly cool down a little bit before I dump them in there, right? So let's do that. You don't want to touch this while it's still hot. So we're still learning. All right, so let's go ahead and try to let it cool down a little bit before we dump it in. Okay, let's see here. I think we didn't wait for it to cool down enough, and then when we actually dumped it, it was way in there. So we'll do it again. Maybe get a little piece of longer strand. Want it to go from like... Okay, so we'll have the solder keep on melting. Hopefully it just goes down and down. Try to hold this with one hand and do this. Look at that solder going in. Okay, before we dunk it, look at that. You can even get more solder in there. We're gonna fill this up with solder. All right. Oh, see, the solder is coming in from the other end too, so that's not what we want. So I think it's about ready that we try to put it in there like this. We're gonna have to heat it up while putting it in there. Looks like it's gonna be. So that's good that there's solder coming out the other end, because when we actually heat it up, hopefully solder will drip back down to the wires, right? And not burn the wires. So we're gonna aim high. Kind of angling it a little bit awkward here. Let me try getting a good position. Okay, so it's pretty cool to the touch. Look at that. Don't want it on my plier, but now it's stuck on my plier now. Alright, so that's fine. Well, let's stick to... Okay, so what I'm going to do is try to... What's all this little piece here? Okay, so we'll have it rest like this. I can't go any more down because it still has solder in there, so... We're heating it. There we go. I'm able to slide. Hopefully I can remove my pliers now. Excellent. So you can look at that, I was aiming the flame more for the wires instead of the I was aiming the flame more toward the tip instead of the wires. So this one feels a little bit more better. I feel like there's plenty of solder now in there because it covered our inspection holes. You can see here, it's completely covered our inspection holes. There's that glop there that came off, but I think we got plenty of solder in there. So I think the flex just made a little bit more of a mess than we probably do. Let's try to do it without flex next time. I think we might be able to handle this without the flex. But flex is supposed to help, you know, sort of like baked in. But let's go ahead and see. Let's check it out now. Let's give it a good tug test. Looks pretty damn good. Look at all that filled with solder. See that? Filled with solder up to the rim. Yeah, this is really strong. Yep, it's not cold solder anymore. Yep, this is good. This is what we wanted, well, what we were aiming for. And then we have our insulator right here already. So you can see here a little bit of that. See the little sap? That's the flux. Look, I can still peel off the flux sap. Or whatever you guys call it, a little stickiness to it. Yikes. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. I think we had a little bit weird. I think we would have been okay without flex, but yeah, this is good. This is what we want. And then we can hide our blemishes here with our heat shrink. Let's see if it goes up. Now when you want to apply heat shrink, you can bring it all the way to the very tip here, but don't cover your exposed area where you're going to put your connector. And it's actually better to use a torch for heat shrink because you can actually control the flame. So let's do this here. We're going to control our torch flame. We're going to get it away from it as possible, almost like 5 inches, let's say. Let's see what happens. There we go. Just enough heat there. Almost 5 inches or 6 inches really away. Because you can't do that with a cigarette lighter because the flame has to be directly almost on there in order to get that much heat on there. But you can see here with the heat shrink, I can be about 4 or 5 inches away and get the result I want. So far it's not shrinking yet. Let me get that guy in there. Almost. There we go. See, slowly but surely. Then this is much better, and it's not scorching the heat shrink. There we go. Look at that. That's the heat shrink. Now we got an idea how to actually use a micro torch, which is pretty damn cool. So yeah, I think this is a great solid connection. It's not the best, of course, but it's definitely worth saying that we did it. So we got a good connection there. A little bit of flex laying around. But yeah, other than that, it's good. We can clean it up a little bit. See if I get some shop rag here. Just kind of rub off that little rubbery leftover from the flex residue. It's not bad. So we got our little connection here. This is going directly to the battery, just along with this guy here. And now we got to cut this accordingly to how much length we need to meet up with the battery. So we could take the splice off here. I mean, we think we're really confident we can actually splice this guy here ready also to put him the same boat as the this one, make a good connection like this one. So I think, are we ready? Let's give it a shot. It's worth it to learn. We'll never know unless we try it. Okay, so there we go. That wasn't a bad. No, not at all. Feels pretty solid. Oh yeah. Feels pretty good connection. Now I wish I could have done it for all these guys here before I put the insulator. But then since they're already there, I will just leave them alone. I would love to try it next time to make my ground wires with a little bit of solder like that. But yeah, it's definitely a little trick here to do that. Now, this one here is going to take a bigger wire, so we'll figure that one out. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get this guy on here and get the process of actually taking out the ugly glass tube. So let's do that right now. Here we go. Yeah, if I had a little smaller solder, maybe I could feed it through that little inspection hole. I probably would attempt to put it from the top and let it drain down, but I don't think even the one that we got in here is actually small enough. It's almost like an angel hair size for it to actually feed into that little, this is called inspection holes there, where there's a little slit on the other end of the terminal. So yeah, so this is fine the way it is. We have to cut this unfortunately off, and we'll have to re-tie it when we're done. Be careful, I don't want to, there we go, just rip whatever else is. You don't want to see that. You don't want to put any pressure in your throttle cable that was so clamped in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure this and see how far we need to bring it to the connection in. So we're going to take this in from here, and then we're going to wind it. So we're going to take that guy from there. So we're probably going to cut it somewhere, factoring the connector and everything, more than likely. I mean, we want to get the most out of this good wire than from this wire. So more than likely we'll cut it somewhere right there. Because this wire is definitely much more thicker. But then we're going from that thick wire to a thin wire, so that might be a little worrisome. That's okay. So we're going to cut it right there. We'll figure it out the rest, because we'll probably need to trim this a little bit more too, because that little heat shrink there takes a little bit of space of its own. So let's see it. So there we go. Let's see which one actually this will take. Probably the blue one, or maybe even the red one. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get the open connection on this real quick. Get a wire stripper. This is a 14 gauge wire, probably, or was it 14 gauge we looked at? Yeah, it's a 14 gauge. So more than likely it might take, 14 gauge will probably be more the center. So let's see here. We're gonna get enough to bond with the other one, so we'll do this much here. There we go. See that? If it's the right wire to hit, you'll get plenty of wire thread. Now you don't want to spin this yet, because you're gonna mash it. You're gonna mash it with the other one over there. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna mash it. Now it's official. This little ugly thing is gonna, idea here, we're gonna do, just lost the heat shrink area. So we're gonna put that guy, I mean, I would love to even go all the way over here, but it might not be safe. So this is where we're gonna meet him at. We'll meet him right there. Okay, here it goes. Cutting out the ugly. We are officially cutting out our ugly fuse bulb. No more of this type of fuse connection. 1, 2, 3. I wish it did a clean cut. That would be much more epic. Alright, it did. So there we go. I just used this one to go back at it. Yep, there's no going back. Alright, so this guy's here and there. You almost take him off of here, really. I do want to keep this saved just in case as a backup. So let me see if I can try to, you guys are going to see my ugly soldering work in a little bit here. Maybe you guys didn't see how I did this last time. So I have to rip the tie strap off. I mean the heat shrink. There you go, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that, it's like a piggyback wiring work. Isn't that just pathetic? I mean, I could have done a way better soldering this. Well, maybe not, but I could probably now. So yeah, they crimped it on, which is cool and all, but definitely could have been way better. So what I'm gonna do is try to do a clean pull out. So I'm gonna go and break it like this. Actually, it's pretty damn strong. It's a very surprised. Oh man, this is, I think I'm the one that soldered a little piece of, you know, this guy here on there, but the rest I think we're like that. Whoa, it's actually pretty damn strong. Oh shoot, don't want to bend this guy yet, just to make sure. All right, let's just cut him out. I try to pull him cleanly, maybe I can. Try to get most of his thread back out, you know? All right, let's see here. Let me see if I can pull with this a little bit more leverage here. I'm just gonna pull like this. There we go. See here. Yeah, he went inside there. I guess they clamped him on. Okay, so this is gonna be cut too, but in the meantime, this guy is gone. So I can see here. In fact, you can almost use his insulator still. It's not a bad thing, really. Okay, let's go and bring back our fuse line here. This fuse line, you cannot take it apart. It can only open, it's sealed already, so it's kind of molded in there. It's not like the glass fuse where you can take the ends off. But then again, it gets exposed to moisture and everything in here, these ends, see? Nothing is really sealing it other than the little, in fact, nothing really sealed. You can see water can just go right in it. But these ones, it's almost watertight. You can't get water or moisture in there. And it closes up when we put our 15 amp fuse on there. Okay, so this is it. Wow, did I cut this? I did. All right, so let's go ahead and peel back some of the insulation, because unfortunately we need to get the insulation off. Okay, so what we're gonna do is prepare the insulation also for this one. I believe it dropped all the way over there. We could probably use a bigger full orange insulation once we're done, just in case. I mean, this comes with insulation already. So let's go ahead and, where is that? What we're gonna do? Okay, so let's get the insulation again, just to make sure. We're gonna use this guy here. I guess we could take the full insulation, just to make sure we got covered. We'll get from here, put that in there. This would be a pretty bigger insulation than the half one here. So we'll leave the half one aside for right now, just in case next time. Okay, let's get this down because we probably will drop it. Okay, let's see which one will fit it. We're thinking it's the orange one here, or it's sort of reddish. So let's see if this one will fit it well. Remember again, it has to go through and it has to mash. So it has to feed in this thing cleanly, but if it doesn't, then we need to get the next size up. Okay, so it's not really going in. Oh yeah, it is, look. But it's not going in here though. It's not going to the next bump. That's the problem. It's going here. It'll feed the lead on there, but it's not going to the next bump. However, I know this probably would go in. This one right here, which we'll need to strip out the insulation now. So let's go ahead and do this one. I'm not even sure this gauge wire is probably, it looks like maybe a gauge 12. So I'm gonna go for it. Squeeze it in there. Alright, so it's smaller than that. So it's probably more like a gauge 14. The higher number, the smaller they are. There you go. That's the 14 one. So you can see here how much strand it really has. It's not quite a bit. Okay, we're supposed to mash as soon as we mash it. Let's see here. We're gonna figure out. We can't really use. I mean, we can't use the orange one because this guy is thicker. So this fuse line is much more thicker. Oh, I'm not supposed to twist it. But you can see here, I could fit him in here. But however, he won't go past that. Well, maybe I can. Let's see. I'm trying, but I can't. However, I know this will work on this guy. It'll even go all the way through. See that? He has no problem meeting us right here in the middle. But the thing about him, he's too damn small. He's not going to work for us. And maybe unless this. Oh, this side looks bigger though. It's interesting. Maybe this would work. Look. This side. Look at that. Oh my God! It works.